welcome back to the channel. This week we're spending our entire time with this 2025 BMW Z4 M40i. What a machine this thing is. I mean, look at the purple metallic on it. It's got big tires in the back, smaller tires in the front. It just looks like a little demon. It is a convertible, but it is cold. Currently it's like about -1 Celsius. So, you know, in short, like I said, it's freaking cold. But we are having some nice weather this week, so I will get to test it with the top down, and I will kind of film some driving and show you. Check out the back here. Oh man, this thing looks incredible in the purple. Take a look at the trunk space quick here. Very nice. I mean, decent, right, for what it is. We also have like a little pass-through I can already see. That's decent, but honestly, you don't buy this for the storage space. You buy it because it is really, really quick and really, really nice, and a little bit in a league of its own, because I mean, the Miata doesn't really hold a candle to this guy because of the horsepower. Maybe the Miata handles a little bit better, but I mean, you can make the argument for that, but still, this thing is an absolute monster, and I can't wait. So let's mount the GoPro up and let me give you my first impressions for the Z4. Let's do it. Okay, so we're starting with the top up for the first driving impressions, primarily because it's cold. The sun is out, so that's helping, but yeah, it's freezing, and I really just don't know about the audio yet. I kind of have to dial that in when I will, as I have a little bit more time with it this week. This is literally my first day, pretty much third time driving it this week, getting a feel for the manual transmission. And that's something that I noticed a lot of comments on about how it felt rubberized, and I was like, that's a weird way to describe a transmission. I really haven't heard that one before. That's a new thing. So I was curious to see exactly what people meant by that. And now that I feel it, it very much is a rubbery transmission. It's good though. Like I don't hate it. I also don't love it yet. I feel like I just need more time with it. So that's why we do these first impressions, and that's why we round out the week with a final impression, because at that point I've spent 7 days with it and I know pretty much everything. So let's give it a little bit of gas here. I'm in Sport Plus mode, pretty much will be all the time. Oh my goodness, this thing's a demon. Yeah, so a small frame like this, with this much horsepower, is an absolute unit. And it's just, you know, once again, a second week in a row where you'll see me coming, you'll hear me coming, and I'm gonna have to very much stay out of jail or out of trouble as much as I can, because I mean, look, like I'm not even at the end of third gear here, and I'm at highway speeds. So, you know, to be a bad non-law-abiding citizen in this Z4 is going to be all too easy and all too tempting already, and I haven't even spent that long with the vehicle yet, so you can imagine my excitement. But yeah, the transmission does feel a little interesting. Like I said, I just think I need more time with it, but I definitely know when I'm in gear more than I have in any other transmission that I've driven, and it's very, like, you really have to push it into gear, and you know, I'm pretty much used to doing that. It's just not the, you know, I'm used to, you know, Honda transmission where everything's very, like, smooth, there's not a lot of resistance, whereas this shifter feels like there is a little bit of resistance there, and you do have to kind of be quicker with it. So, but the clutch feel is really good. Like, I can feel the engagement point, no problem. It's in traffic, it's actually easy. I actually picked it up and then drove it in traffic basically right away. So, you know, I got my start go kind of thing dialed in, because I don't drive manuals on the daily, so you kind of have to dial it back in. And you kind of have to dial it back in for each individual car, because all the transmission and clutches, they're all different, right? So I've got it dialed it back in now. I just think that this thing's an absolute monster, and it's kind of got a market to itself. I mean, sure, you can compare it to, I think people are comparing it to a Boxster, but like Porsche is, I don't know, I just feel like Porsche is kind of, I don't know, that's a really high limit. But if you compare this thing to a Porsche, this thing is, you know, at the base, it's like not that expensive, or not as expensive as a Porsche would be. So this thing has so much power for such a small little frame. I mean, I barely even know what to do with all this power. It's so much fun. And then, like, I know once I put the top down, the freeing experience that is going to give me, plus the horsepower, plus the sound of the exhaust and the engine sound, oh my God, like, it's just happiness. And I have like 2 days, I think, with like decent weather. I don't think the sun will be out, but it will be warm. It might be a little like on and off rainy, but hopefully we can find a period where I can really put the roof down. If not, I will put the roof down. Whether or not it's cold, I'll wear a sweater and put on a hat. I'm going to show you what this thing is like with the top off. You have to experience it with me, and I have to experience it for myself. So this is probably like one of the last weeks that this is even going to be doable, because we're starting already at nighttime to get into like the minus Celsius. So yeah, the winter is definitely coming, and it's almost upon us, especially if we go outside at night with the wind. It is not great here in Quebec, Canada. So yeah, let's take you through the week though. I'm going to show you everything, interior, exterior, all the little quirks I find of this thing, and you know, I'll definitely do a couple more in-car driving for you as we go through here. So stay tuned, let's do it. All right, so now we're sitting inside the Z4 M40i. You can see I have the roof very much up. As you can see, we are in full fall, and the temperature outside is plus 12.5 C, but no sun and wind, so it is really cold. And yeah, so I'm not going to be doing any of that with the top down, but I think tomorrow and the day after that, we should get some nice weather, so I should be able to mount the GoPro up and show you what it's like to actually have the top down and talk about that experience. But for now, let's go over the interior. So once you sit down, you are greeted with the, you know, kind of classic, but not really, BMW steering wheel, because the M440i, the one that I just got out of, that you just saw the review on, well, it had the same physical buttons and stuff, other than the fact that this doesn't drive itself, doesn't have the assisted driving and stuff like that. It's pretty much the same thing, but the heated steering button is not tied to our infotainment display. It is right here as a physical button, and you know me, I prefer it like that. I like my physical buttons, and the Z4 does not disappoint. I've got physical buttons for pretty much every single control here, and I really like that. Got my media controls, wiper controls, turn signal controls. It's all standard stuff. Nice BMW steering wheel. I like the feel on it too. It's nice and big, nice and beefy for a car like this. You gotta need that. And then we've got all our lighting controls physical. The Harman Kardon sound system sounds very nice. I like this trim here too. It's got this nice Alcantara feel. Really, really cool. And I like how it splits it up. We got the blue. You can option this with different interiors. I feel like the purple and the black interior go the best, but if I was to get, say, like a black, maybe I'd want, you know, maybe a red interior or something like that. You can definitely option this interior very nicely. We'll talk about the seats. You know, I've got the kind of the BMW stitching, the BMW performance logo right here. We've got kind of the nice feeling materials here, as well as we're mixed with some leather. We've got the support for our legs, which is very nice. This seat is also going to be power adjustable as well. I like the little BMW kind of stitching on the seatbelt as well. That's very nice. Soft top is very soft, very cool. I do actually have some storage back here, which is interesting. Like, it's hard to show it on camera, and it's basically like a pass-through for the trunk. I'm basically just storing my filming stuff, and you have a little cargo net here. So, you know, if you have a passenger and you need to pick up like some small groceries, you could probably fit it back there. Other things in terms of storage is this guy, 2 cup holders. If you want to use the cup holders and still have your armrest, you can still have this, and you can still use your shifter here. So that's good. I like that fact. So that, like, I just tried it not too long ago where I had two drinks in here, and it was able to work. Obviously, if you close that, you're not going to be able to use it, but most of the time that is going to be closed. So next, let's move to our infotainment display. I can, you know, this is very much the older version of the BMW infotainment display experience that we had. So last week you would have seen the new one, the one that's probably rolling out on a lot of them. The Z4 still has the older one, and honestly, it's just as good. I mean, BMW really didn't need to make a new one. I actually really like this one. We got all our car settings and stuff like that. It's very easy to understand. You can see it's actually purple. Change the interior lighting. The ambient lighting is nice. I've actually set it to purple, which, you know, purple on purple looks really cool. And then I can kind of customize my driving modes from here. And this is for my friends that do not like rev match downshifting. The gear shift assistant is BMW's word for rev match downshifting. So the only way to turn it off fully, or the only way that I found to do it, is you have to put yourself in sport individual and then disable it from there. Obviously, I have mine enabled because I like that. And you can also have your damping. So we do have adaptive dampers in here, so you can have your damping in comfort or sport, steering, engine, sport plus, you know, stuff like that. And then you can also configure your Eco Pro stuff, your dampening for that and your steering for that. Then you can also control your general settings. It's all very easy to understand. We've also got like quick buttons here, as well as the button. That's how I'm controlling it without actually having to touch it. We've got quick buttons so I can go to the home, and that's kind of what our home screen looks like. Then we move down to our climate control stuff. Again, all physical buttons. I can change everything from here. It's, again, the classic BMW look. I like it. I mean, the Z4 feels like a classic BMW anyways, so the fact that we have this I'm a fan. I'm right here for it. So dual zone automatic climate control. I don't have ventilated seats, but I do have the heated seats, which is very nice, coming in very useful. You can see I have mine on right now because, like I said, it is cold outside. And now you're probably wondering what these buttons do. Well, it's cool because look at this. I can kind of drag my finger along, and it's actually quick buttons. So I can assign that, to different radio stations. I'm sure if I wanted to, I could assign it to bring up my Apple CarPlay, my maps, maybe my vehicle settings, and you have buttons to quickly access everything. This is awesome. What a interesting design. I love this. This is so cool. They should keep this on their normal models. I mean, geez, this is really awesome. Then we have your normal volume tuning knob. We've got a wireless charger, a little bit of storage, USB plug right there, 12-volt outlet right there as well. Then we have our shifter. You can see that the shifter is, I've heard a lot of people say it is rubbery. It is, in fact, very rubbery. When you want to go, but I like this, when you want to go to the rear, there is a rear lockout, so you really have to push and then go all the way up. That puts you in rear, that puts you in reverse. But other than that, it's very standard. But you can see just like there's quite a bit of resistance, but it's very notchy. You definitely know when you're in gear, and I like that as a beginner. I think that's going to be very important. So really solid. I like the little M badge in there too. Very easy to operate once you get used to it, no problem. You got parking sensing buttons right here. We don't have a 360-degree camera setup, but we do have parking sensors, so that's good. Engine start stop, sport mode, and then you have all your different sport modes that I can go through. If I press the button here, let me just go home. Then I can go, I'm already in sport mode, so you can go comfort, you can go eco pro, eco individual, eco pro individual, configure it from there if you want. You can also go sport, sport plus, sport individual. That's all there. It already shows you that button. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Standard rear view mirror, lots of visibility. We've got these nice big side view mirrors so that we can see around us. There is a little bit of a blind spot, like here. I kind of feel myself having to lean forward. Same thing with here, just I kind of will lean forward a little bit just to make sure I am checking that blind spot, because I am small, and you just don't want to run the risk of people not seeing you on the road in this very nice looking BMW. So if I haven't showed it to you already, so let's hope we get some good weather here and I can actually take this top off, show you what that's like, and kind of take you through that driving part. So let's continue the week. All right, back outside with the Z4 M40i. I'm telling you, this camera and any camera does not do this purple paint job any justice whatsoever. You have to see it in person. It looks kind of too dark on the camera, or like not the right, like I can't get it into the right lighting to really depict it well for you on camera, because it just looks so good. And I want to show you what it looks like outside, from outside of the vehicle with the top down. I already drove it with you and stuff like that, so I don't really need to do that again, but just look how cool it looks from all angles. I mean, I just want to show you everything. I like how, cool the interior looks with the top off. And I love how this doesn't intrude on your trunk space. It's got its own separate compartment. BMW have taken care of that, taken care of us very nicely here this week. Oh man, and I'm lucky. I've got the sun out. I've had some nice weather. It's perfect, convertible weather right now. It's not too hot, not too cold. Very nice. Let me know what you think though. Would you buy it in this purple? It's called Thunder Night Metallic, the paint color. Would you get it in this configuration? Do you like the convertible, or are you going, completely Supra, as they were kind of built in the same fashion, and the Supra has a lot of the Z4 elements. I haven't driven the Supra yet, but just looking at things, you can see that they definitely share a couple of things, the Z4 and the Supra, quite closely. So that is interesting to look at. But still, let me know what you think in the comments. I love this thing. BMW, you've impressed me once again, and that seems to be a theme. I think, yeah. I need to drive something Mercedes that kind of is like this. So if you have any suggestions in the comments of what I could maybe ask Mercedes to get, let me know. All right, so we're back inside the Z4 M40i, and now I've got my GoPro up here. I've got, the top off. It's currently plus 20 Celsius outside here in Quebec, and I can finally show you what it's like to drive this thing with the top down. I'm just gonna get out of this park area here. What an experience. I mean, I wish that there was some way that I could virtually show you or put you in the driver's seat yourself, other than my POV videos. That's the best I can do. But just to have you sit beside me, I mean, I don't know if there's a way for you to experience it the way I do, because oh man, I just wish I could give you all this crazy. I mean, it's so freeing, and I love the Mazda Miata. It was nice. You could hear the engine, you could hear the exhaust, and then you take this, which has got a really nice turbocharged engine, a really nice sounding exhaust that's not afraid to be heard and listened to, and then you just get an incredible experience. Because now I'm sure, and I hope the mic is picking it up, I'm sure you can hear the burbles and the pops and the bangs and stuff that's coming behind me. Hopefully you'll still be able to hear me, because there is a little bit of wind. There's not that much buffeting with this one. There was more buffeting in the Mazda Miata that I had. This one, there's really not a lot of especially when I put the windows up, there's nearly no buffeting at all when you're driving. Buffeting, for those who don't know, is that like that big wind noise that happens when you're going at speed. This doesn't really have that, and you'll see as we get up to speed a little bit here, I really don't notice it at all. My hair is blowing in the wind. It's just such a cool experience. It's a nice fall day. It's probably one of the nice or the warmer days that we're gonna get until probably next year. So I'm really happy to be filming this right now. I think today and tomorrow I've got a good opportunity to film some top-down stuff and not absolutely be freezing. Don't get me wrong though, I've absolutely been taking the top down even if it's 10 to 12 Celsius outside. I don't really care. I'm experiencing this car even if my ears have to freeze off. Because if you have a soft top, the convertible way, I mean, usually I'm not a convertible fan. Like, it's just not a car that I would choose, but this thing has to be experienced with the top off in the nice weather. I've got like the nice fall smells too here, so that's also been really cool to experience. And just, oh, big bump. I'm just kind of driving in a park here, taking it easy. That's the cool thing too, is you don't absolutely have to rip to hear the exhaust. Thumbs up to a fellow biker who likes the car and the sound. There we go. Yeah, so here we go. We're getting up to some speed now, and I can hear the wind in my ears. I don't know if you can hear the wind on the camera. Hopefully not, but as I kind of get out of this park here, I'll put the windows up and talk a little bit more though. But oh man, what a time to be alive with this Z4 BMW. And look at this, rev match downshifting. This transmission is really easy to use. It is a little bit rubbery. The transmission, the gear shifter itself is a little bit rubbery, but the clutch pedal feels really good. The rev match downshifting is awesome. I love all of it, and I think, I don't really think that you can go wrong here. Very easy to understand, based off of the Toyota Supra. So, I mean, if this thing feels like this, I can only imagine what Toyota have taken out and kind of done with their thing. I think that might be the better feeling gear shifting transmission wise, but still, this is a very solid experience. And it's like, I tell you, experiences like this are why I signed up to do this stuff. It's why I chose to do it in the first place, and it's why I'll do it forever. So currently I'm in Sport Plus mode, and that's the mode that I'm always in pretty much, unless it's like super early in the morning. I don't really feel like being a nuisance to the community, but right now we're pretty much in the afternoon here, so we can absolutely be a little nuisance to the community with pretty much no worries. So I'm taking full advantage of that. So I roll my windows up a little bit here because I think it's gonna get a little windy here as I get onto this straight here. First gear pull, into second. Woo! A launch out of second. I held the clutch a little bit too long there. I should have just popped it up. Not the greatest manual driver, but you can see I can still operate this thing at speed. I can still make it go very fast and still have an incredible time doing it. So you don't have to be an expert. Obviously, it does like to play with you a little bit more than something like the Mazda Miata was. It does have a lot more horsepower for a small frame. You feel every inch of the horsepower and torque that this thing has on offer, and you hear it all as well. It's just such an all-encompassing driving experience, and there really isn't anything like it. I mean, sure, there's the Porsche Boxster, but like, it's a Porsche, it's a mid-engine. This is a front engine. This is just a classic convertible that just rips, is loud, is fun to drive, is pretty good at handling too. And oh my goodness, it's kind of in a class of its own in terms of power and just what it is. Oh yeah, the sun's coming out now. Here we go. Drying roads. Oh man, it pulls itself through the corners. Such a low center of gravity. It's just so fun. Like, there's just no road that this car doesn't make fun. Even the most boring road, top down, ripping, straight line, corners, highway. No matter what you want to do with this thing, you're gonna have fun. And I think that's why you spend the money. I think that's why, you know, it is a very nice value. I don't see any of these on the road. And obviously it's expensive. Maybe it's more of a retirement car. And I have to remember, because, you know, I don't think this car is going to be around forever, because we do have the older technology and stuff. So that kind of tells me that maybe BMW is not really looking to revamp the Z4 that much, maybe not even looking to, you know, put a hybrid or an electric powertrain or anything like that in here. So when I do retire, I have to remember this vehicle, and I have to try to get my hands on one, because oh my goodness, it is so fun. And I call it the retirement car, the weekend car, because obviously when you have a family, you can't really fit a child in the back. You can't really fit more than another person. So you're going to want to enjoy it, you know, with your significant other or by yourself. That's also completely fine, but you're going to want to enjoy this thing, you know, to the fullest extent. And you can't really do that with, you know, little kids that require a car seat still. But, you know, once your kids grow up, they can sit in the passenger seat and have a fun time alongside with you, even if you have to do multiple trips. And honestly, it actually would be better if you have to do multiple trips with your kids, because you get to drive it that much longer. Oh man, I love this thing. I'll pick it back up a little bit later. We'll show you, you know, different stuff with the top down, how to, you know, maybe how that looks and stuff like that. And I'll show you under the engine. We'll talk about specs, and we'll talk maybe a little bit about the rest of the Z4 M40i. What a vehicle, what a time. Thanks so much for watching so far. Let me know what you think, and let's pick it back up later. All right, so back outside with the Z4 M40i. Let's take a look under the hood. Let's take a look at this engine bay. You can see that I've got some really nice badges all over the kind of engine cover there. We've got the M Performance, the BMW, like just little writing or badge, one badge, and then a second BMW badge. Very nice. You can see how like compact this engine is, and it just packs a punch. It's a 3-liter twin power turbo inline 6. It's the B58 engine. We've got 382 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. Yeah, what a beast it is. I mean, it just sounds like a beast from the back, and then you look at it from the engine bay, and it's just really cool. I like the look of the car like this. You can also see just how cool that purple paint looks like. Oh man, it just looks awesome, awesome, awesome. I just absolutely can't get enough of this thing. What a machine. All right, so back outside one final time with the BMW Z4 M40i. Oh man, I'm gonna miss this thing. I really, really am. I just, let's actually turn the headlights on here a little bit so you can actually see it in all its glory properly. Here we go, pop that on. Every time I turn it on and off, it doesn't seem to keep there we go. Look at this. So, yeah, I'm really gonna miss it. I think it's a one-of-a-kind car. I think you can't kill it. You can't put an electric vehicle engine in it. You can't put a hybrid in it. You gotta leave it as is. It's just gotta be super, super clean like this, and it's got to stay. And you also understand why Toyota wanted to collab with BMW on this specific design, because it is such a good, nice looking, solid platform to build a Supra off of it. And just look at it. I mean, Jesus. I've been stopped so many times in this car. Like it's probably one of the top conversation starter cars that I've ever had. People are stopping me, like I'm in a nature park right now, and people are stopping me left and right just to talk about it, ask what it is, or some people know what it is and they really enjoy it. So unfortunately, for the last time this week, let's hop in one more time. Let's give it a couple more riffs. Let's try to hear that exhaust a little bit more, and yeah, let's give you my final impressions. Let's do it. All right, last time, unfortunately, on the road now with the Z4 M40i. Oh man, what a week it's been. I mean, just listen to that exhaust. Oh, pulls from second gear are so much fun. It's just, though, one of those cars that you just can't explore the limits of the car on the public road, because it is just so fast, such a punch. I mean, you know, when you spend a week with the Z4, you almost spend a week with the Supra. I know they've kind of went different directions in terms of tuning and stuff like that, but you tend to understand why Toyota would want to work with BMW on a platform like this for the Supra. I mean, it is just an absolute ripper of a platform, an absolute, like, it's just a monster of a thing, and it just makes complete sense why Toyota want this. It handles really well. That you got a lower center of gravity because you're only two people. You only got 2 seats in the car. It's just an absolute machine to drive around. I've been stopped, like I said, so many times in this car by other BMW owners, by just car enthusiasts in general. Everybody loves it. Everybody has nothing but good things to say about it. Some people don't even know it exists, which is an absolute shame. Some people have no idea what it is. And then when you tell them, they're surprised. They don't even realize that BMW is still making this. Yes, they are, good sir, and they deserve to be driven. I mean, my whole point is just you can't kill these things. You have to keep it around. I don't really want to see it with a hybrid engine or like an electric adaptation of it. Just keep it the way it is in all its glory. I mean, it's just such a fun little thing. Like, I'm taking turns here, you can see, and it's just flawless. I mean, the suspension is really good. The dampers are really good for what it is. And also the transmission is decent. It does take a little bit of getting used to. It's kind of not like, I guess, the most standard one in the world. Like, it is stiff. There's quite a bit of resistance. So you have to kind of take your time and really dial yourself into it, really learn it. But I do like the fact that they gave you the option now, because it used to only come in automatic, and sure, that was probably still really fun, but now I feel like giving us the manual transmission just turns everything up to 11, makes everything way more fun. So I just love it this way, and I would not have it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I just think this experience has been really cool, and I hope that I've done a good job at, like, you know, showing you or getting you to experience the car kind of through my eyes and through my car and through a screen, because that's kind of something that is really hard to do, and as a journalist, it's something you want to do. You want people to get the idea of you know, what you're driving, and so I really hope I'm able to do that for you. And hey, you just see me ripping around trying to talk at the same time. It's it's just an absolute beast. Visibility has been, you know, okay. You do have kind of the blind spot stuff. The detection does help, and still, I kind of feel like I have to, like, reach over my, you know, look over my shoulder quite a bit and just look out the back window, like, over my shoulder, because I am small, and, you know, you do worry about people not seeing you on the highway and stuff, because I do go quite fast on the highway, obviously respecting the speed limits, of course. I never go above that. It's that would be crazy to assume that I would do something like that. But, you know, we're a law-abiding citizen, and, you know, hey, you can be a law-abiding citizen but still have a ton of fun and hear the exhaust pop and bang, and when you get warmer weather, you can take the roof off and really enjoy it that way as well. So let me know what you think. Owners of the Z4, first of all, I'm jealous. Second of all, how do you find the experience? It doesn't have to be a 2024, 2022, 2023, 2020, whatever. Tell me how the experience owning a Z4. Do you drive it in the winter? Do you live somewhere where you even have that problem? If you don't, you're also lucky, because then you can drive your Z4 all year round. What a dream that would be, to drive a Z4 in December. Wow. Not here in Quebec, though. Absolutely not. I wouldn't even think of it. But, you know, let me know how that's been. I want to know. I want to hear from my owners. I love to hear from my owners, and I love to hear from the community. What do you guys think? This one, Toyota Supra. I haven't driven the Toyota Supra, so I can't really tell you my opinion, but this has set the bar really high. When I do get the Toyota Supra, I guess I'm going to be comparing it to the Z4. And, I mean, that's not going to be a bad thing, but it's going to be a fun thing to experience. So I will try. I don't know if Toyota will give it to me in the winter, if it's even going to be. They've done it before. I have seen it out in the winter on the press fleet here in Montreal, but we'll see what happens there. So with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, and I will see you the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.